Kia ora te whānau, and welcome back to Why Should We Give a F, our fake podcast to explore different topics and uncover why rangatahi should care about them. I'm Preston, and this is Tamariki.
Today we have a very special guest. Well, actually we're her guest because our office is based at her house. Charlizza Matehe, our CEO, or Auntie Shah. Shah was only 18 years old when she started her career in youth work. And I just want to remind everyone that 18 is still classed as a rangatahi. Since then, she dedicated her life to suicide prevention and the lives of rangatahi. She has written and directed countless shows with messages of hope and supported thousands of rangatahi through conferences, camps, wānanga, and even employment. She is in the final stages of her PhD in suicide prevention. But one of our favourite things about Auntie Shah is her alter ego, Little Miss Ringawera. Follow her on TikTok, she's a main cook. So we're very excited to have her here on our podcast today to talk about why we should give a F about rangatahi-led mental health research. So, Shah, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Kia ora koutou, ko Charlizza Matehe tōku ingoa, ko Kauranaki te maunga, ko Ngāri Roro te awa, ko Takitimi te waka, ko Kauranaki te marae. Born and raised in Marae Nui, but I'm a Harris from Te Hauki, originally from the far north, who married a Matehe from Waipiro Bay. But yeah, I come from a long line of youth workers. As you guys know, my mum, she opened her home to a whole lot of rangatahi growing up, one of them being Tamia's mum and Tamia's aunties and uncles. But she actually learnt that lifestyle from my papa. He was a Pākehā man, but he had a Māori heart. And he was a local softball coach here in Marae Nui. He owned a courier company, but he used all of his profits to house rangatahi, feed rangatahi. He also paid for a lot of their sports fees. And so that was a big part of who he was that my mum inherited, who then I later inherited that value as well to become a big part of who I am.
Can you share the whakapapa on how and why you started Toi Matarua?
Yeah, so growing up, I always had a love for stories. Like I mentioned, my papa was Pākehā. When I say he was Pākehā, I don't mean like he was Kiwi. I mean like he was British. So we grew up like in the hood, but we were hood kids that were made to read Shakespeare. Yeah. He would read us poems. He would make us, when I say us, I mean like me and my cousins, reenact plays. So I read Romeo and Juliet when I was 12 years old. And when I say Romeo and Juliet, I mean like the OG, like how far out thou, like that kind of style. So I think that had a big part to play in how I was able to grow up in an environment where there was a lot of family violence, there was a lot of drugs and alcohol and things like that, but the stories were what helped me to escape where I was actually living, and that came from my Pākehā papa. Yeah. And so, quite young, I started to write my own stories. So I was 10 years old. I remember I was at Richmond Primary School, did you go to Richmond Primary? Yeah. I was at Richmond Primary School, and I wrote my first creative story, and my teacher at the time, her name was Whaiwhetu, she took my story and she put it into a local competition. It was with the Hawke's Bay Today, and I ended up winning this competition, and it got put in the newspaper, and that was the first time I realised I was actually pretty good at writing stories. And I would have never had known that until that teacher, and she sadly passed away when I was 16. If she didn't believe in me and put that story, she secretly did it into this competition. So after that, I started doing more competitions as a kid. I was 12 when I was a finalist for Kia Piki. I don't know if you guys probably wouldn't know what this is, but it's called Piki Huia, short stories. And so I was 12, I went down to Wellington, and it was just really mind-blowing to me because nobody in my direct circle was writing stories, but like I just somehow inherited this talent for writing stories. And I had a dream to become a writer and director of movies. That's actually what I wanted to be. So when I was 15, I wrote my first play. It was called A Gift for Paura.
Okay.
And it was a take on. Do you guys know what A Christmas Carol is? Have you ever seen one of those movies or heard of that? Like it's the night before Christmas.
Oh, yeah,
and then the main character gets met by the Christmas ghosts of Christmas past, present, future.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote this play about family violence, and it was about an abusive dad. And the night before Christmas, he was visited by 3 kaitiaki, who took him to his like past, like his tipuna days, showed him his present and how he was impacting his whānau, and then showed him his future, which was how his life would pan out if he carried on this pathway, but also how his children's lives would pan out. After the show, it was actually my friend's auntie. She came to watch the show. And after the show, she actually went home and she was in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And she decided after the show that she was going to leave her husband, and they actually got a divorce. And she told my mum about that it was actually the story that gave her the courage to leave her husband. And I was so, like, only 15 years old, and I was like, holy heck, there's so much power in these stories. And then that was the moment when I realised that I wanted to help people with my stories. So I was only 15 years old, and my mum, she was my biggest supporter, because like I said, she was a youth worker, so she would always tie these plays into her mahi and find money for me to do it. Yeah. So it was just like me and my friends, and we would do these different plays. Fast forward a couple of years, and I'm year 13, 17. How old are you? 17. Yeah. And it was getting to the point where it was, okay, are you actually gonna carry on with this dream, or are you gonna get a proper big girl job? And I was 17 years old. I left school to go to film school down in Wellington, and I loved it. I loved it at film school, but there was a part of me that I felt was a calling to say, not yet. There was something else I was supposed to do first. So to my mother's disappointment, I dropped out of film school and I enrolled into a youth work course to become a youth worker like her, which she hated. But I just felt like that was what I was supposed to do at that time. But I still had this dream to tell stories. So I also enrolled into a weekend community business course. This was before I had kids, so like you can do heaps of things when you have no kids. You can do 2 courses at once. And then, so don't have kids young, guys. Wait as long as you can. And then so I did this business course, and that was where I wrote my dream business, which was Two-Faced Drama. So it was a theatre company for me and my mates to formally start to tell these stories. I didn't know where it was going to go, but we just keep doing these plays. We keep doing. We started to make short films and things like that. And then fast forward a couple of years, it was 2015, and we had about 10 people in this performing arts company, Two-Faced Drama. And then in 2015, we had 3 deaths within our whānau of friends. 2 of them were suicides, and all of the passings were rangatahi, so they were between the ages of 20 and 22. And so we came together, we sat in a room, we looked around, and we realised, and Soraya, Auntie Ray's was in there, Arahina was in there, who you guys know, and we looked around and we realised that we had all been closely impacted by whakamomori. And so we started to do plays about suicide that day. And so, 2015 was when I wrote Smoke and Mirrors, which Sarah was a part of that show. She was only 12. She was in that play. We took that play around Aotearoa. We went up to Tukaroa. We went down to Christchurch. We had no idea what we were doing. Mind you, too, during this time, this was before Mike King and I Am Hope. This was before Shot Bro. This was before anyone was doing suicide prevention in Aotearoa that was led by rangatahi. So it was it was still a little bit tapu. Some people didn't open their doors to us because they were afraid. It was like really high risk. And so we still kept pushing on anyway. But because there weren't many people doing it and there wasn't much evidence around what we were doing being safe, it was really hard for us to get funding and to get tautoko a lot of the time. So in 2020, I decided instead of waiting for somebody to come and do the research on what we were doing, we were going to do it ourselves. So in 2020, we rebranded from Two-Faced Drama to Toi Matarua, because Two-Faced Drama, like I said, I was actually 17 when I started Two-Faced Drama. I started when I was 17, so the name didn't age very well, Two-Faced Drama, and it didn't sound like a professional research company. So it was Auntie Ray's who renamed it Toi Matarua, which is toi meaning the art of, Matarua meaning to have two sides of a coin. And so that's about rangatahi being able to walk into multiple spaces, trying on different identities. Somehow it got out there that that Two-Faced Drama was starting to do research. So we got people knocking on the door like Otago Uni, Auckland Uni, asking us to do focus groups. And I realised, oh, damn, there's a bit of money in this. So we started to advertise ourselves more as a research company, and the rest they say is history. And now, bada bing, here we are. We have a podcast.
Okay, cool. So you actually talked a little bit about rangatahi suicide. So could you just share a little bit about your research kaupapa and your PhD?
Yeah, so my research kaupapa, the overarching question, is how can performing arts ignite and sustain ihi, wihi and mana and rangatahi at risk of suicide? And so when I was having a wānanga with myself about what I was going to do my research on, I knew I wanted it to be strengths-based and based on protective factors. We already knew from our own journey in the kaupapa that it's a very heavy topic, and I didn't want to spend years going into the sadness of it. I wanted to focus on the happiness that could come of it. And so I try to think, what is the opposite to whakamomori, or not wanting to be here anymore? And I thought about performing when I felt most alive as a rangatahi, when I was doing something that I loved. And I could only describe that feeling as ihi, wihi, wana. And you guys are performers too, so I know that you've felt this feeling before. Yeah. And I had a wānanga with my cousin, Ricky Solomon. I showed him the bones of what I was working with, and he was the one who told me the analogy of he talked about from the perspective of a performer, that when you step on stage and you go to that spiritual place where you almost exit your body, that's you experiencing ihi. When an audience comes in and they witness that, you inspire the wihi within them. So if you've ever watched a show and watched a certain performer or a certain storyline and it's awoken something in you, so that's wihi. And then the wana is the wānanga that happens between performer and audience that goes back and forth. So if you think about, last year when we did Where There's Smoke, and the different places that we took that show, is that we had a wānanga with the people of Mahi, we had a wānanga with the people of Tokoroa, we had a wānanga with our whānau here. And and so how do we, my kaupapa is about how do we create more experiences like that for rangatahi, so they're going to want to keep on living, because those kind of experiences make you want to keep on getting up each day so that you could keep experiencing it. And it's not just performing arts. For some rangatahi, they experience it through sports, through boxing. They might experience it through, it's really just finding that thing that they love and then building more experiences for that young person to ignite their ihi, their wihi, their wana. Yeah, so that's my kaupapa. I'm almost finished. It's taken me 6 years. Why is it taking so long? It's because I've had 2 babies during that time. Again, wait till you wait as long as you can. But yeah, pretty excited to come up to the home stretch of this mahi.
So what are some things rangatahi Māori can do to build their mental health?
Yeah, so in the 6 years, well, to be honest, I've actually been in this mahi a lot longer because my mum, she started this mahi when I was a kid, because my dad, he took his life when I was 4, and then after that, my mum, she pursued a career in social work, and then so I was 11 years old when I would go to Wānanga with my mum. I would like hand out pamphlets, like help in the kitchen, things like that, put the chairs out. And so I tell people that I've actually been working in mental health and suicide prevention since I was 11 because I had to. And so it's very second nature to me to be in these quite hardcore spaces. And just from all of these years of doing this mahi and also my 6 years of doing this study, the number one protective factor for rangatahi Māori, not just rangatahi Māori actually, Indigenous rangatahi, is actually identity and connection to culture. And the reason for that is because if you trace back some of our biggest social issues for rangatahi, incarceration, suicide, unemployment, they can all be traced back to colonisation and us being disconnected from our culture. So the number one thing you can do to protect rangatahi from those 3 issues is actually connecting them to their culture and helping them to find their identity. And performing arts is only one of many amazing ways that you can do that, through haka, through song, spending time on the marae, learning karakia. That's number one. But there's lots of really cool things that spill out of wānanga that rangatahi can get involved with as well, that helps to protect them and build up their mental health. So one being performing arts, exercising, boxing, feeling like you belong, so being a part of a community. I would say number 2, after identity and culture, is actually contribution, feeling like you have something of value to give. So whether that be mowing your nanny's lawns, whether that be teaching a dance class, whether that be facilitating a haka workshop or being a part of a fight for life, these things make you feel like you have purpose on this earth, and that if you weren't here, you would be missed because you're contributing. That's number 2. But yeah, there's a lot of amazing things that come out of performing arts that you can get all these protective factors from. One that I would, very, very simple, that I would actually suggest to the parents who may be watching, is the power actually of having a kai together. Very simple as that. But, you know, like we joke about it in that, but there's research that's also been done around whānau who eat dinner together. So this is some of the mahi that I've been working on. And if you've followed me on TikTok since the OG days back in 2021, I actually started that TikTok as a mental health channel where I would cook and talk about mental health things at the same time. But the research around eating together is very similar to like a fighter. You know, you have your rounds and then in between you retreat to your corner. And when you go to your corner, you have your coach, you have whoever your support people are, that they might give you advice on your next round. They might heal your wounds. They might nourish you or get you ready. And it's the same thing as having dinner together. So if you think about a whānau, every day when you go out, it's like a round and a fight. So you're going out and you've got your challenges of the day, you've got mahi, you've got school, all the stresses that come with it. When you come to your table as a whānau, that's actually your corner. And it's not only good for the rangatahi, it's good for mum, dad, everyone in that whānau to sit down and talk about, this is what I'm going through, or this is something amazing that's happening, and that will give you strength for the next round or for your next day. So that's something very simple that, and it's hard because, you know, we all have really busy lives, but as much as you can for parents to try and sit down and have dinner with your rangatahi, because you'll learn so much more about your kids when you eat with them. But like, yeah, and then, you know, all the other stuff like, you know, you feel more loved when your mum cooks for you, and it's a whānau affair when you're clean up afterwards. But yeah, if there's anything that you guys take, let it be those 2 for rangatahi and that one for the parents.
Okay, so our last question here is actually why should we give a F about rangatahi-led mental health research?
Yeah, so going back to Two-Faced Drama Days is, like I said, during that time, we were the first people, that I knew of during that time to actually do rangatahi-led suicide prevention. We took that smoke and mirrors tour around Aotearoa. We, that was like $100,000 project that we did with nothing. We did, but it just goes to show the power of rangatahi-led.
Yeah.
Because when rangatahi lead things, they're not what's the word? Rangatahi aren't held back from the what ifs. They don't get bogged down by we can't afford that, we can't do that, because your dreams are so much bigger.
Yeah.
So that's why I think the power of things being rangatahi led is so underestimated. But also when rangatahi led kaupapa that are to do with rangatahi issues, you're going to hit the nail on the head a lot faster than if adults try to do it. Because, if adults try to lead it, it's going to go around the long way.
Yeah.
So even though I'm not a rangatahi anymore, within my studies, I always try to include the rangatahi for it to be truly authentic.
Yeah.
Because if I try to do it by myself, I'll be basing it on when I was a rangatahi, and that was a long time ago. What I needed when I was 15 is not the same thing that you need today as a 15-year-old. I had different challenges. You guys have different challenges. There's different things happening in the world. So in order for the research to be truly, relevant, it needs to be done by rangatahi, led by rangatahi.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Shah. We can definitely see why it is important for us to give an F about this kaupapa. And all the best for finishing your PhD as well.
Thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
now we're going to move on to our biscuit segment. You're a biscuit person, no way.
Okay, so
She
I
brought her own
actually brought
biscuits.
my own biscuits because
Oh.
I have gestational diabetes. If you know, you know. So I had to bring some sugar-free ones for you guys to try. I've also never tried these before either. So
We've got
these are like the healthier version of chocolate chip cookies. I think this is
Twins.
Oreo. Yes, I think those are healthy Oreos and healthy shortbreads. So here's my cards.
Okay, so our 3 things we're going to be rating off is appearance, so the way the biscuit looks, not the packet biscuit. Then taste and texture. And we all have to agree on a rating for each 3 things.
First one's appearance. Okay. Oh, they're a bit little.
Yeah, they are. They're little wares. They look like what are they called? Like budget versions of the. What are those?
With the beer on it.
Yeah,
Cookie Times.
Yeah, those.
Yep. They look like mini versions.
I can't eat this actually, Fano,
Why?
Why can't you?
because I'm fighting.
It's sugar free.
They're
I don't
healthy.
care.
Oh, is it the gluten?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's alright, you can do it.
So you can. It's alright. You can try it off camera. We
No,
won't.
I'll do that. I'll do the point. I'll do the appearance. I
Yeah.
got you.
What is it out of 5?
Out of 10.
Out of 10. Oh.
Well, my one's got a gap between in the middle. It's got a hole in it.
Missing chocolate chip.
Yeah.
I reckon 5. It's like, I
Yeah.
tried.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the 5.
What do you reckon?
Can you just eat it? Why is it? It's only one. Just take one bite.
It's a bit dry. They definitely taste healthier. I think if you are sugar free and you really needed it,
This tastes like cocoa powder.
then it might. Yeah, it definitely tastes healthier version.
It's definitely got no sugar in it.
What is it out of 10?
Yeah. 4. I say 4.
3.
Yeah, I was.
You had like the tiniest bite. How do you even know?
Exactly, I had the tiniest bite, and it's a 3.
Okay.
I reckon, probably 3.
3.
3, yeah.
It's good.
3 for
Three
taste.
for taste. Now texture. That was dry.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite.
It was
I reckon a 2. Well, if it had a cup of tea, then
Yeah.
maybe a
It
4.
would have been nice with them.
Mm.
But yeah, I think if you were really desperate, then it does the job. But I wouldn't go out of my way if I didn't need to.
Yeah.
So 3.
3.
3.
A 3
so,
without a cup of tea and a 4 with a cup of tea.
Yeah.
so that's 6. 11.
What's been
11
the
out of
lowest
11.
rating out of all your cookies so far?
This
Oh,
one.
yeah.
11.
Oh, there you go.
I'm pretty sure it's this one. I can't remember.
Yeah, I see we had one.
10.5, 9.5, eh? What was
Oh,
that?
what was that?
It was the nanny biscuits.
Oh, those are nice. I like those.
Do you?
The shortbread.
Yeah, those are all good.
You're not
Gilmore's
even in there.
ones.
I don't know.
Sugar
The ones with
cookies?
the,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
those.
shortbread, the white ones.
Wait, were those 9.5?
Do you like these more?
No.
Oh.
No.
Those then, please. The rating says otherwise.
Well, we were really judgy as well.
We'll
Oh.
donate these to Rongoapuku. I think they'll like those.
Shout out to Sally.
They will. Okay, well, that's us for now, e te whānau. Thank you, Sha, for coming on. Doits,